On April 15, 2014, the Sewol Ferry left the port of Incheon, South Korea, carrying 476 passengers. Most were teenagers from Danwon High School, heading for a long-awaited field trip to Jeju Island. A moment of joy, selfies and freedom before the final stretch of exams. To the students, it was a dream come true. To their parents, a routine school trip. None knew they were boarding what would become a floating coffin. The ferry was overloaded, carrying over twice its authorized cargo weight, stacked with trucks and containers tied down poorly. Yet the ship's owners, the Chonghaegang Marine Company, had gotten away with countless safety violations through bribes and paperwork manipulation. The ferry itself was old, purchased second-hand from Japan and refurbished, but in truth, dangerously unstable. The government's inspection system had rubber-stamped it, a ritual of negligence disguised as protocol. At 8:48 a.m., somewhere near Jeju Island, the Sewol tilted sharply after making a sudden, unnatural turn. Cargo broke loose, pulling the vessel to one side. Within minutes, the tilt reached 30 degrees. Students felt the corridor floors slant beneath, then panic rippled through the cabins. In classroom-like rooms below deck, announcements echoed from the loudspeakers. "Please stay where you are. Do not move." The voice of calm authority turned out to be the deadliest instruction possible. As the ship filled slowly with icy water, many students texted their parents, some saying, "We're told to stay put," others recording trembling video diaries that would later haunt an entire nation. Above the decks, lifeboats remained sealed. The captain, Joon-seok, and several crew members quietly climbed out through windows and escaped onto rescue boats, leaving hundreds trapped below. The Coast Guard arrived but hesitated, assuming everyone had already evacuated. Confusion spread faster than orders. By 10 a.m., the ferry was at a terrifying 50-degree angle. Some students tried to climb through tilted hallways, their phones capturing the surreal scene, backpacks floating, ceilings now becoming walls. Outside, helicopters hovered, but no one entered. Divers weren't deployed quickly enough. The ship fully capsized at 10:31 a.m. Hundreds went under, trapped in dark, shrinking pockets of air. The cries went silent soon after. News of the disaster broke live across South Korea. Parents rushed to Jeju Island, screaming at officials for answers that didn't come. In Seoul, the government scrambled to manage optics. Early headlines claimed most passengers rescued, a devastating falsehood that collapsed within hours as the truth surfaced. Almost everyone was still inside. The horror of watching a modern nation's children die in slow motion while help stood by shattered South Korea's trust in its institutions. When the truth finally emerged, public outrage exploded. Investigators found the captain had abandoned ship first. The Coast Guard delayed rescue attempts, and the company had falsified safety documents. But the owner, a reclusive religious businessman named Yoo Boong-yoon, fled and was later found dead in a field. The captain was sentenced to life in prison. Still, for many South Koreans, the punishment felt hollow symbols, not solutions, for a deeper disease in the system. Experts later concluded the tragedy wasn't a simple human error. It was a systemic failure from top to bottom. Bureaucratic hierarchy, blind obedience, and profit-driven negligence had created a culture where no one could act without permission. In that chain of command, courage suffocated beneath compliance. The children raised in the same system that told them to obey their elders followed orders to stay still, even as the sea consumed them. The Sewol Ferry disaster changed South Korea forever. Protests erupted, demanding justice and reform. Yellow ribbons became the symbol of remembrance. Years later, divers still recall recovering young bodies clutching their phones' final messages saved in drafts. The event forced the nation to confront uncomfortable truths about authority, accountability, and humanity's instinct to follow orders even when logic screams otherwise. More than a decade later, the wounds remain raw. Some of the parents still camp outside the government's offices, demanding full disclosure about the missing black box data and sluggish rescue response. The Sewol's rusted hull, raised from the seabed in 2017, now stands like a museum of grief, a frozen moment accusing everyone who could have helped, but didn't. And here lies the chilling prediction. As automation, bureaucracy, and AI-driven systems increasingly control human life, new disasters could emerge not in the ocean, but within the invisible codes of our trust. The Sewol Ferry may have sunk in 2014, but its warning remains afloat. When systems become gods, human lives become paperwork.